Can I answer your questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with Mr. Martinez, because we're talking about pensions and investments. When you hold a U.S. Treasury and it's at low interest rate and the interest goes up, the value of that bond goes down, correct?
Goes down.
Do you have to recognize that on your income statement, or because you hold these things to maturity, do you not recognize that loss?
We will do indirectly in that the OPM, and not us, not our auditors, calculate actuarially what our amortization of unfunded pensions are. To the extent that our value goes down, then that cost goes up. Theoretically, but I don't know. They tell us what it is that we have to put in.
So, again, I'd be surprised if you had to downvalue that because you're holding it to maturity. You're just getting hit by the fact that you're earning a very low rate of return versus what's available in the marketplace. By the way, the comment you made in terms of the $800 billion of lost opportunity, had you invested that in just a normal type of balanced fund, would have also been true for Social Security had we not spent that money and invested that in, I know they didn't exist at the time, but some kind of ETF or some kind of Dow Jones index fund, we'd have $7 or $8 trillion in real assets, but we didn't do that. We spent the money, it's gone. But that's,
if we had been able to invest
point.
like Amtrak or TVA on a diversified portfolio, that surplus would have been money that we wouldn't have had to put into the pension fund, but rather spend on our capital investments.
So this gets me to my next point, and it's the constraints that the Postmaster General talked about. Basically you're operating and reporting to a 400 or 535 member board of directors here that impose on you certain business conditions that you would not recognize, or you wouldn't operate that way if you're in the private sector, right, Mr. Postmaster General?
Well, we have laws that we need to follow and have different impacts on us, used to protect the monopoly that no longer exists.
Right, so the question I have is, what are those major constraints? Let's get them on the table. What does Congress force you to do that in any kind of rational private sector business you wouldn't do because you keep losing your you-know-what?
Yeah. Well, I think the first part was the was the pre-funding legislation that we worked together to get passed last year.
You did get an infusion. I never would have thought this would happen. I was chairman. $100 billion plus to offload part of that.
That's a perspective that I don't share. Right? It was
a non-cash adjustment to the balance sheet.
Let me finish. Ron.
Sorry.
You relieved the liability.
That was legislation.
By the way, how much of the liability were you relieved of? I'm not up to speed on those numbers. I mean, your total unfunded liability pension was over $200 billion, correct?
We still have the same obligations long-term to pay for our retirement
Not having
health
to
care.
recognize it.
It's just the pre-funding legislation that was passed in 2006, probably the dagger in the heart of the Postal Service between what it did with regard to the pre-funding and also the price fixing that it instituted, that the PRC oversaw, right? That through basic division, you would have seen that. I mean, you were seeing it every year. $10 billion losses.
Yeah, we talked about that again. Okay. That was an insane bill that was passed, what, 2006?
But there's a whole bunch of the same things that have the consequences
again,
today.
That's the 535-member genius board that
I appreciate the legislation that you passed, right, that gave us room to move forward. I would have liked to seen CSRS get it signed off. It didn't. I'm moving forward in operational and financial, revenue-producing issues. I think the Postal Service Regulatory Commission needs to be looked at, right, in terms of what their impact and effect. I have a Senate-appointed board, a Senate-appointed commission. These are, I think that this organization is not set up to deal with what this Congress is asking us to do, which is compete in the we have $39 billion worth of mail. It costs us $65 billion to deliver it. The only way to make that up is by driving cost out, potentially
which you're not allowed to do in many cases. I mean, right? I mean, you're constraining what you can do in terms of cost-saving measures.
And grow in the package market, which we are. And we're driving cost out too. I am hopeful. We've had these short-term issues, but go to some of these operations. Go look at the difference in Atlanta. Go look at the overall strategy. No strategy existed. This was a randomly deployed, haphazard organization that had no mission. There's a purpose within the organization now. People are engaged in terms of trying to make this work, and the strategy is not that complex. It's simple. Load your trucks.
So again, what Congress does what it always does. I mean, they throw more money at the problem. My guess, when you get a few tens of billions of dollars thrown at you, you can use it to some effective impact.
I'm not, listen, I have not, I've asked for, that's what I have asked for. I think we have an operational path forward to solve a lot of this problem. If you know, it's not without consequence as we do it, but I'm pretty, you know, positive about what everybody's engaged in the organization, including our union leadership.
So again, what I would try and elicit, and can't really do it in 7 minutes, but if you could do it offline, I mean, I would really like to fully understand what those constraints are, and if you really could change the law. Again, I say without affecting service, you're going to affect service. You can't continue to do what we keep doing in a declining market environment. But anyway, I'd like to hear from that. I do have one other question submitted by one of my constituents who actually produced the blue boxes. Apparently, you're going to higher security blue boxes, and they're just asking, are you going to be issuing, I guess, the specs on those, some kind of strategic plan so they can plan on it, so they can deliver those blue boxes to you as a cost-effective manner as possible?
I think we have purchased about 25,000 high-security boxes, and we have a deployment plan, so if you want, I could get with our retail and delivery group and the inspection service.
Okay, yeah, if you could, you know, get us in contact with somebody just on the basis.
Not somebody who wants to break into them, is it?
Pardon?
It's not somebody who wants to break into them, is it?
I don't think so. I think this is a cooperative type of question. But thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Hassan.